Hey guys, Grant here. I want to tell you about my friends at Blackberry Inn and Suites of downtown Gatlinburg who are making it possible to bring this episode to you. As you guys know, I grew up in East Tennessee, and there are two things that all East Tennesseans have in common. We all love the Vols, and we all love the Smoky Mountains. Since I've moved to Nashville, I've been unable to get my Smoky Mountain fix in as much as I would like, but thankfully, my friends at Blackberry Inn and Suites of downtown Gatlinburg have me covered. They're conveniently located at 1100 Parkway and are within walking distance of the best food and major attractions that Gatlinburg has to offer. To book your stay today, call 865-436-5656 or toll free at 1-800-933-0777 or visit them on the World Wide Web at blackbeargatlinburg.com.
Frank Bailey. Let's go. Yeah, make it look easy. Hey, stand up.
And welcome into this episode of the Volin' Out Podcast. I am Grant Williams, and joining me, just as he does each and every time here on the show, I've got Jordan Mountcastle with me. Jordan, how are you doing, my man?
Brody, I'm great, man. I'm just glad to be celebrating a win over the Peacocks. We didn't get peacocked.
No, man, we aren't like those guys over north of the border in Kentucky, you know? I mean, just lots of fun for them to lose to the Peacocks and the Golden Grizzlies.
Back to the coal mines early.
Kentucky, man. Back there, Kentucky is in full effect. And we'll talk about Kentucky here later in the show. I do want to talk about them a little bit. But, man, there's a lot to dive into today. Game against the Peacocks the other night. Big one to break down right there. Tennessee then gets matched up with Texas, so the Rick Barnes Bowl right there. Rick Barnes versus Terry.
Bowl 24.
Yeah, man. I mean, Rick Barnes versus Rodney Terry. That's going to be a fun one right there. Then we got a lot of other stuff just to kind of dive into as well, man. We're going to talk about the SEC and how the SEC has not done so well in this NCAA tournament. So, man, without further ado, let's just kind of jump in and let's kind of talk on this game and kind of figure out what the Vols did to get past the Peacocks.
Let's hit it.
Second seeded Vols were way too much for the 15th seeded Peacocks, man. 83-49. Just, it was never even close, man. Not once.
No, man. They did exactly what we wanted them to do. We talked about it the other night on the show. They come out, they won a game against somebody they're supposed to win against and did it how they're supposed to do it.
It just shows me, man, this team did not care in Nashville when they played Mississippi State. And they didn't care when they played Kentucky and Knoxville 2 weeks ago.
They were meaningless games, and they didn't care. They didn't feel like they needed to, which I get it. I'll say this, though. They looked well-rested and ready to roll last night.
Yeah, they did, man. I mean, shots were falling left and right. I mean, it was just a great game overall for a lot of players on the team, and it was really good to get to see that. You know what the best thing for me on this whole thing right here is, though, man? Rick Barnes finally gets that 200 victory that I feel like I've been talking about for damn near a month now.
Oh, I know, man. It's been like we just been waiting around for it. Like, when's it going to come? Wouldn't that have been some BS if we'd had to wait till next year to get that?
He wouldn't have ever got that 200th win if that would have happened.
That's true. That's true.
He would have packed it up early and said, you know what, guys, it's been a really good career, but I'm tired of this shit.
Right. It's been real. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. See you later.
Yeah, pretty much on that, man. But the biggest thing when it comes to this right here, the Vols keep on dancing, man.
Yes, sir.
Got to stay alive.
Got it. Just staying alive, buddy. We're like the Bee Gees.
There we go. Just like the Bee Gees on that, man. Diving into the full team stats from this game right here. Tennessee shoots almost 51% versus the Peacocks 29.1% in this game. Also, Tennessee only took 53 shots in this as well. So much, much better from that horrible showing in Nashville.
Man, they were a lot more efficient yesterday. They looked like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Just ripping net and just doing it, man. At one point, I want to say right before halftime, I seen that they were shooting almost 65%. That's incredible.
Man, well, you know what the biggest one for me here is? I sat here the other day while we were doing the show in person, and I complained about the three-point shooting percentage. 11 of 24, 45.48%.
Money.
Bert said it best right there. That's all I can say.
I love that one.
Versus the Peacocks, man. The Peacocks end up shooting just a horrible 16.7% right here in this game.
Man, Lord.
Like, I don't
They
even
could-
know what to say about that.
I'll tell you what to say about it. They couldn't have hit the ground with their hat yesterday. How about that?
I mean, you're not wrong on that, man. They couldn't have done nothing if they tried.
No. And that was the best part about it.
It really was, man. Diving into the free throw numbers, Tennessee 18 of 25 for a 72%. Peacocks 13 of 19 for 68.4% in this game. Tennessee 47 rebounds versus 21 for the Peacocks. That right there is the ball game. That and the three-point shooting percentage, man.
Yeah, that you're 100% spot on with that, man. Like they just Adu, Tobey, everybody, man, they ate on the glass yesterday. We talked about that the other night with Rich too. I felt like that was something both of us did. That was something that they could really exploit with St. Peter's, and they did last night, dude. There was no just St. Peter's didn't have an answer.
No, hell no, they didn't, man. They had nothing they could work with on this, and it really showed in this game. I mean, the offensive boards were 13 versus 8 for them. They only grabbed 13 defensive boards, where Tennessee grabbed 34. Just, it's a night and day difference right there. 19 assists versus 3 for the Peacocks. Wow. Steals tied at 4. I mean, I can't really say anything on that. 5 blocks for Tennessee versus 1 for the Peacocks. Total turnovers, 15 for Tennessee. Yikes.
That's a little high, but I'm curious to know how much of that happened in garbage time whenever not all the guys were out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They did have their moments, though, where it was sloppy.
I'll say this, though. I don't think we can blame it on garbage time because garbage time didn't last long enough for me in this one.
That's true. You were like, PIC, put in Cam.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't put in Cam. PIC, I'm gonna start that movement right there because I just
hashtag.
Man, everybody who listens to this show knows I freaking love that kid's game. I cannot wait for him to be the best player on this team next year because I know it's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it. Cam Carr, best player on Tennessee's team next year.
I hope you're right, man. I really do.
I mean, I think that this kid's got the special to be able to do it, man. One other thing I couldn't add on this too, Tennessee led this game at 1 point by 36.
Oh, dude, it was a slaughter fest, man.
Was never even close. Never close.
Well, okay, so the 30-point win that Tennessee got last night, largest day one margin of victory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably cruising towards the largest day two margin of victory as well.
So
I would imagine.
I have that actually right over here. So this is the second largest win in NCAA tournament history. The first was 2007 in the round of 64 versus Long Beach State, 35-point win. Tennessee wins this one by 34 against St. Peter's. Third on the list, 32 points against Longwood in the round of 64 and 22, and in 2018 round of 64 versus Wright State, 26 points.
Man, which one of those games? It was either, I think it was Long Beach State where we scored over 100 or something, and it was like 130 points or something like that, I thought.
Yeah, it was like, dude, that was back in the Bruce Pearl days. That was forever and a day ago at this point.
I mean, we shut their eyes out, man. I remember it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was a fun time to be a Tennessee Vol back then.
Man, I mean, what I liked about yesterday was Tennessee started off fast, and they never really let up at all. Even whenever they put some of the, I don't want to call them scrubs because we're fairly deep, but even when they put some of the guys in that don't play much in,
that's the word. That's the word right there. The guys who don't really play, the bench warmers.
Yeah,
not the scrubs, the bench warmers.
Right. It was crazy though, but I was glad to see him look well rested, ready to go. And they look, they got me excited for tomorrow night. I'm not going to lie.
And I think they got a lot of people excited for tomorrow night on this one. Moving on to the box score for Tennessee. First off, I just want to say, look at how long that bench was. I think everybody got in except for DJ last night.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? That I wonder, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on anything. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. So moving on to Jonas Adu right here. 20 points, 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 9 from the line, 1 offensive board, 5 defensive for a total of 6, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 15 points.
Not a single foul on Jonas last night either. He played a clean game.
I will say this, though. He played against a team that was much smaller than you. So I think that has to be why. But it gives you a lot of hope that if Jonas Adu is doing this, that we've got right here in front of us, How far can this Tennessee team really go?
That box score kind of ties into what we were talking about the other night. The big three, and it doesn't matter as long as you get your production from Z and Dalton. It doesn't matter who that third piece of the big three is. It just needs, you got to have at least 3 of your 5 starters put up stat lines like that.
I agree. I agree with you completely on that, man. Moving on to the next guy, Dalton Connect. 29 minutes, 8 of 15 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, 1 offensive board, 7 defensive for a total of 8, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 23 points. Man, I have a feeling Burt was going money a lot.
Yes, absolutely, dude. Dalton played one of his better games that he's played recently last night. And, you know, we kind of talked about it too. Dalton drops 40 and we lose, and he gets this kind of game last night, we win. That's where Tennessee needs Dalton to be scoring at, because when he's doing that and Tennessee's winning, that means we're getting production from other guys, and that's what we need.
Yeah, well, and I've got something prepared for that a little bit later after we get done with this whole piece right here. Tennessee needs these guys to be able to do this consistently. Zakai Ziegler,
Absolutely.
31 minutes. That's probably what I'm the happiest with right there. 31 minutes. 3 of 6 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line, 2 boards, 10 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 11 points. The man had himself a double-double.
Man, dude, I knew he was playing well. Dude, watching him run this offense when he's on is poetry in motion. No questions asked. It's awesome to watch, and he was on last night, man. He played one of his better games. They all did last night. I mean, it was a team effort.
Yeah, it really was. And, you know, I think the Zakai had a little bit of extra on this one just because of who plays for that other team as well.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
I think that had a lot to do with it. Just my personal opinion on that.
I'd say you're right.
Moving on to the next guy, 26 minutes for Santiago Vescovi, 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 boards, 2 turnovers, 3 fouls, 6 points. Bueller.
No, I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to ride Santi too hard for last night. He actually didn't have a god-awful game.
No, he didn't. It's just, it drives me crazy when I go through his box score and 4 boards. That's great. 6 points for him, man. If he gives us 6 points here moving forward for the rest of the year, I'll be happy.
Yes, I agree with that.
2 turnovers and 3 fouls, though. Just not that good. And what bothers me on that is you have 0 assists to go with 2 turnovers.
Right.
That's what bothers me more than anything on this.
You know what, though? I'm going to say this about his game last night. I was actually glad to see him not pass up so damn many open shots.
I agree with that. He actually was aggressive and wanted to be out there playing, and it really showed.
Yes, that was the biggest takeaway from his game last night that I had. That was impressive. I was glad to see it. He must have listened to us the other day. Shoot the damn ball.
I think he did, man. He was probably like, I can't be on the milk carton again. And spoiler alert, he's not. Anyways, moving on to the next guy. 22 minutes, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, 5 boards, 3 offensive, 2 defensive, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, 0 points. You're getting nothing from Josiah Jordan-James, man. Like, I understand he's doing all these other things. 5 boards, that's great. 3 assists, that's great. 3 steals, that's great. 1 block, great. Everything else, I mean, I don't understand how this guy had 27 at Rupp earlier in the year and then goes out there and does this against the Peacocks. Does he just need to be in a big-time arena in a big-time game to perform?
Well, he's going to get his opportunity tomorrow night, because I feel like we're going to need what we've got from our big three, and then somebody to step up just to put it on ice for us, you know?
I agree, man. I agree with you on that right there. Man, one guy I was really happy to see, and he didn't do anything, Colin Coyne. That kid deserves to be in the game right here. Walk on, didn't get to play in senior day, is a senior on the team, got to play in the NCAA tournament. I think that's a hell of a trade-off right there, not getting to play in TBA.
Absolutely, man. I was glad to see that too. it was a cool story too. Like they talked to him after the game. I seen it kind of floating around Facebook and stuff. He was very emotional talking about it, and that was cool to see. You know what I'm saying?
Well, man, there's kids that dream about playing in that tournament, and he
Yes.
got to do it. And it was only 1 minute, sure, but he deserved it. I'm glad he got it, and it's just good to see. I'm only going to touch on just a couple of the bench guys, and you can touch on some if you would like to as well. But for time constraints, I don't think we can touch on every single one of them. Tobe Awaka in 11 minutes, which was reduced by injury. Very concerning when it does come to that. But we'll hear from Rick Barnes later in the show, and he kind of talks on that as well.
Yeah.
3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line, 4 boards, 1 assist, 2 fouls, 8 points. Can't really complain on that. JP Estrella, 8 minutes. 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line, 1 board, and it was also an offensive board. So it's good to see people get that. 2 turnovers, 1 foul, 6 points.
Dude, they were going wild with that lob to Estrella last night.
I loved it.
It was funny, man, because there wasn't a guy on St. Peter that
could guard it. No, nobody could guard it, man. And what I like on this too, man, I mean, JP's going to be a really big part of this team moving forward. And if he's playing good ball right now, man, Tennessee's going to be in a much better, what's the word I'm looking for? Scenario. Because if you can go 3 deep at the big versus just 2 deep, then there's not many teams that can do stuff like that. So I think that that's really good right there. Man, Freddie Dillon, 3 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field, 2 points. That's all he gets you. And he gets you 1 turnover. But
yeah,
I wanted to see more of that kid this year, man. I really, really did.
I honestly thought we would, to be honest with you, man. Like this, I don't know if he just doesn't pick up on it or, what it is, but I'm with you. I honestly thought that we would see more of him this year.
I really thought we would because you only have 1 point guard on the team. Let's just be realistic. And he's number 2, but you have 2 point guards on this team, realistically. Vescovi's not a point guard. Meshak's not a point guard. Gainey's not a point guard.
Right.
Freddie Dillon, Zakai Ziegler. Why are we not getting more from Freddie Dillon? I want to see more of him on the floor. And I think that's more so coaching than anything else. And that's one of the few times I'm ever going to be very critical on the coaching.
Well, we've got how much longer do we have, Freddie?
Oh, well, he's a freshman this year.
Okay. So, yeah, we've got him at least 2 more years.
Unless he hits the portal, though, man, you got to remember the day and age we're in now. It's not what it was 20 years ago. Hell, it's not what it was 5 years ago.
It's not what it was last month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always changing. But if he sticks around for a little while, I think Barnes will coach him up. That's one position that Barnes can really coach up, and he does well at. So, we might have a different conversation about old Dillon next year.
I think so, man. I really do. If he chooses to stick around, I think he's going to be a very big piece of what this team does moving forward. One guy I just want to talk about, just because I think that he's a very special talent, Mr. Cameron Carr. 3 minutes, should have been more like 30, but I'll forgive Rick for that. 0 of 1 from the field, and that was also a 3. 2 of 2 from the line, 2 points. Got you 1 board. He got you 1 turnover, 1 foul. A kid like this should have played the entire second half of this game.
I'd agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Get, Dalton or somebody some more rest. Dalton only played 29 minutes last night. But
he should have only played 15.
Right. Just because you were texting me last night. What if something happens to to Dalton or Z, in a game that you're up by 25 in with 15 minutes to go?
Yeah. I mean, you're pulling your hair out, you're screaming at the TV because you don't want to see stuff like that. Like it's not what basketball is about.
Right.
So
100%.
Moving on to the next guy, Jordan Gainey, 21 minutes, 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 2 from the line. Got you 3 assists. Also got you 2 turnovers. Also got you 3 fouls, but he got you 6 points.
Yeah.
If you get that consistently from a man, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, especially when you've got the production we had last night. I know I keep repeating myself on that, but man, we've talked about it. This was another. I mean, we could have probably ran our starting 5 last night and still won that game. You know what I mean? But when you get the kind of production that we had last night off the bench, I mean, the bench scored you 24 points. You get that most times, you're winning a ball game.
Oh, hell yeah, you are. Normally you are. I mean,
I mean,
I want to see more stuff like this, basically, is what I'm trying to say. The last guy I want to talk about on this, Jabari Meshack, 21 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field. That was also a 3. So, man, I mean, your guy was doing his thing right there.
best 3-point shooter on the team.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall for that, but I'll give you this.
Money.
We'll give you that right there. Got you 1 offensive board, 5 defensive for a total of 6, 1 block, 2 fouls, 4 points. It's what Shaq's going to give you, man. There's nothing you can complain about when it comes to that.
No, absolutely not, man. And one thing too, I wanted to talk about. I didn't really touch on it while we were looking at the box at the team run down there. 25 free throw attempts last night. I'm happy with it. That's where they need to be at.
I am too.
That's where
they
need to be at, and they're going to have to do that tomorrow night to get that win.
I agree. Any of the bench players stand out to you that we normally don't get to see that got to play in this game?
I liked Estrella. I did. That was a good one. I'm going to echo your thoughts there with Colin Coyne. I'm glad to see the kid get in there. I bet you he made the most out of that personal foul too. I think I missed it, but
oh hell yeah,
I bet
he did.
He made the most of it.
He wanted it to last a little bit longer. He's like, man, I don't want to come out of this game, and I don't blame him, man. But it's really good to get to see Tennessee go this deep in their bench because I don't think Tennessee has done this all year, where literally everybody played except for one guy. So just good to get to see that, man. Last thing on this right here, Tennessee shot 50.9% from the field, 45.8% from 3, and 72% from the line. Not a lot of guys I want to talk about on this. I do want to talk about Reed. 30 minutes, 6 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line, 3 boards, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 4 fouls, 17 points. I mean, man, he had himself a day. I'll give him that.
He did. Our buddy the other night, Rich from St. Peter's, he was on with us, and he said that was one we needed to watch, and he played himself a good game, but where was his help?
He had none. That's what the problem was on that. There was no help for the guy at all.
None.
Last guy I want to talk about, just for the sake of all nation, Armani Ziegler, the younger brother of Zakai Ziegler, the loser of the Ziegler Bowl. 16 minutes, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. He got 1 turnover. Didn't really do a whole lot, man. But I just want to throw this out there. The kid doesn't have a bad game. He was good on the defensive end. What do you think? Rick Barnes says, hey, Zakai, you want your brother to play 1 year of ball with you at the University of Tennessee? Tell him to hit the portal.
Right? That'd be cool, man. Bring him on, the Ziegler boys.
Well, he would be instantly probably the 2nd or 3rd favorite player on the team just because of who his big brother is.
Yes.
Everybody's going to be like, oh, my God, Zakai's brother's in. Zakai's brother's in. We got to watch.
We've got to watch him. One thing, though, that I kind of want to touch on with looking at these numbers right here, man. Rich had mentioned Corey Washington the other night, and dude, they locked him down.
He didn't do shit. 1 of 9 from the field in 25 minutes.
When you got more personal fouls and you do points, there's something wrong.
Yeah, man. I mean, he had 2 steals, but he had 4 fouls. He got 1 board, 2 points. I mean, I just gave you his whole stat line right there. Like, that's what's so crazy about that to me. Tennessee did a great job locking him down, but not only did Tennessee do a great job locking him down, Tennessee locked the entire team down. 29.1% from the field, 16.7% from the 3-point line, 68.4% from the free throw line.
It's like watching my buddies at the bar, man. They couldn't score.
Couldn't score if they tried, man. Moving on to the leaders of the game. Dalton Connect for Tennessee, 23 points, led all scorers. Reed, 17 points for the Peacocks, led all scorers for the Peacocks. Roberts, 5 boards for the Peacocks. Dalton, 8 boards, led the entire game. Ziegler, man. Zakai Ziegler. Let me put it that way. Z, double Z's, ZZ Top, 10 assists.
ZZ Top.
2 turnovers. Hell of a day for the young man. And then Reed, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Leader in assists for them. Don't know how that's possible. But, man, that was a fun one right there to get to watch last night because things were much different than how it could have went. And in a day where a lot of SEC teams didn't really do well, and we'll talk about that later in the show.
Yes.
But it was good to get to see Tennessee be the one to do what they need to do. But, man, let's hear from Rick Barnes, and let's see what he had to say on Thursday night after the game against the Peacocks.
Let's do it.
Jones of the Austin American-Statesman. Well, kind of two-part question. You've played Texas before, but now, Rodney's their head coach. You guys have a good relationship. How difficult is it to play someone you have a good relationship with? And then the second part is, what stands out about this Texas team?
Well, one, it is tough when you are playing against guys that have been a part of my career for a long time. He and Coach Haith, Chris Ogden, so many guys there that helped us while I was there and were a big part of our success there. So yeah, it's always tough when you do that because we all are close. We still we stay in touch with each other. We talk throughout the year. But when you look at them, the fact that they one got one of the all-time great scorers that can get going, but I like their balance, and I haven't watched them a lot. I really haven't because I just want to allow myself to do that. I couldn't even tell you who's in our bracket right now other than when we came here, we knew it was the three teams other than ourselves. But I have great respect for Rodney and Frank Haith and Chris Ogden, guys, again, and I know that they're going to be very well prepared, and it's never easy, but those guys probably know me as well as anybody, and they know how I think, and but I think if you ask both of us, would we rather be playing someone else, the answer would be yes.
To our right.
Aaron Beard with the AP. You mentioned you liked your team's focus, taking care of business, the way they came in. What did you, in the days leading up, I guess you don't always know exactly how your guys will start until they're out there, but did you see what you wanted to see all week leading up to tonight as well?
We did. That's a really good. We did because you know what, we were concerned because our league. I truly believe we had the most competitive league in college basketball this year. When you go down the last week, when you could end up in a 5-way tie for first place, and we really went at each other. And I was concerned about how hard we all had to fight at the end of the year, all fighting for a conference championship. But we'd lost 2 in a row, and one game. I'm not saying I don't think we played poorly, but we weren't our best. And then we played probably maybe our second worst half of the season in the tournament, but came back. And again, I really admire and appreciate our guys. We're very transparent. We watched the whole game and talked about where we lost our focus with our game plan and why we splintered and what caused it. And so yeah, those guys responded when we went back out on the court and went to work. They did respond, and just proud of again, they were really focused with what we need to get done.
Third row.
Hey, Rick. Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. How would you characterize your defensive performance tonight, particularly against Corey Washington, and how much of your size advantage do you feel like that smothered them a bit?
Well, we do think that, they're a team that, if you look at them, they're really an inside two-point shooting team, and we worked hard on guard post-ups. We knew they were going to try to get there and back down, and we spent a lot of time not wanting to give them a lot of room to operate and try to use our length when they wanted to pass out of it, make it hard for them to whip it to the other side. And I thought we really did a good job staying in those gaps early, and even when they run really good stuff. They're really well coached, and but we were focused on the details, and that was important. Then I do think our size has helps us. There's no doubt in terms of deflections, trying to just take away those windows where they can whip it back to the backside.
Then follow up.
I do have one quick follow-on related a little bit. You had a pretty good long moment with Bash on when you on the handshake line. Can you share maybe the message you might have given him?
I just told him I think he's got a great future, and I thought he had done a great job. And what I'd say, getting to this tournament's hard, and when you get here, right now it's tough when you lose because they, believe me, they came into this game expecting to win. And there's no doubt with what they had done 2 years ago and with a team that got it going here at the end. And they hit us at a time when we played well. But I watched him, and as we were getting ready, and I'd met him years ago, I think when he was at St. Benedict's, and we talked about that for a second. But he's got a great future ahead of him. But his team's extremely well coached in the fact that he knows his team. He knew where he had to try to get them in spots to win the game. And that's where, back to your first question, I think our length was a factor for us.
Second row.
Wes Rucker with 24/7 Sports. Rick, with Tobey there, what happened when he kind of went out for a while with the leg, and is he all right?
Yeah, he's okay. He felt like he had a little something with his, I think his right leg, hip up high or something. But yeah, we could have played him more, but we decided not to, just to make sure, because Tobey's one of those guys that sometimes he won't tell you the truth. He just wants to play so badly that we weren't going to take a chance with him, even though he felt like he could go a little bit more. They had kept him, I think, warmed up out there in the hallway a little bit, but he could have played more, but we just decided not to do it.
Third row to our left.
Lauren Walsh from WSMV4 in Nashville.
Yeah.
Hi, Coach. It seems like a bit of a nostalgia tour for you, back in your home state, now playing Texas. How do you balance some of the more sentimental things tied to your past with the task at hand to win?
Well, I've got great respect for my time at the University of Texas, and I've got dear friends that they'll be friends until the day I die. And like I said, great relationships with much of that staff. But I've been gone 9 years, and I'm a Tennessee volunteer. And the time I had there was, special because there's a lot of people there that touched my lives, and we've had a lot of people that have left that program and done extremely well. But I think the good Lord for coming to Tennessee was a blessing. I maybe didn't know it at the time, but I couldn't have asked for a better way to be in a position where my career will end. And when we get ready to play, I can assure you that Rodney and his staff are going to try to win that game as hard as we can, and I can tell you we're going to try to do the same thing.
And that is what Rick Barnes had to say after the game on Thursday night against St. Peter's. Man, normally I ask you for your takeaway, but I have one takeaway I just want to throw out here first before I ask you.
Sure.
Rick Barnes saying he is blessed to finish out his career at the University of Tennessee, and he said he maybe have not seen that as a blessing when he first came here. Whenever he left Texas, he's like, oh, I got to go somewhere else. I've still got to work, is kind of what I'm taking from that. Now he's like, oh, I'm with the real UT. Horns down. We're going for the gold right here, baby. Go Vols.
Horns down, baby. Yeah, man. I kind of picked up on that too whenever he said that. And I think that might be a little foreshadowing. We've had that discussion before, and I think that might be what's coming down the pike, depending on how far we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, man, my opinion on this is I think that this is probably his last year no matter what happens. Just me thinking out loud here. I think he's probably like, man, I'm about tired of doing this. And I don't really blame the guy if he is. Just throwing that out there.
I could see that for sure. One thing I thought was kind of funny was when girl there kind of introduced herself, he was like, yeah, the Silver Fox, son.
Man, I know who that girl is. I see her on TV in Nashville a lot. Google her. That's all I'll say right there. Right. Anyways, man, lots of stuff to unpack from that right there. I really hear him talking about the Texas one more than anything right there. Like,
yeah,
we kind of wish we weren't playing them. They kind of wish they weren't playing us, but it's the draw we get. And this is a matchup made for TV right here, man, at the end of the day.
We talked about it on the special the other night. We talked about it on the show the other day. Kind of whatever. The committee knew what they were doing.
Oh, hell yeah, they did.
There's a ton of entertainment value in the Midwest region alone. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. It's without question on that. Lots of really good teams are playing in this bracket, but lots of an entertainment factor right there, man. But you know what that means? Teams. If we just heard from Rick, you know what time it is.
Player of the game, baby.
Who do you think it is, man? Give me your best guess.
Man, we got two to pick from. I'm hoping it's Z. It could be Z or Dalton, though.
Let's see, man. It's our main man, Zakai Ziegler.
Man, that makes me happy. He did. He played a phenomenal game yesterday. I mean, you can't. It's hard. We say it all the time. You can always make a case for Dalton. Z played a better game than he did yesterday. More complete, I should say.
I mean, I love Dalton, but I'm kind of tired of him being player of the game all the time. He's got to drop 45 for me to make him player of the game again. He's got to drop 45.
Somebody get it to this man before 8 p.m. tomorrow. That soundbite right there.
Yeah. 45, you're player of the game, Dalton. Hell, I don't care if Tennessee gets blown out by 90, you're player of the game if you drop 45. Well, that means he's the only one who showed up if that's the case. But man, you also know what time it is if that's going to be the case.
Oh, man.
Josiah Jordan James, you are on the milk carton.
Hashtag milk carton kids.
I mean, he's a regular on that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, man. It kills me, man. It kills me. I hate putting anybody on the milk carton, and I know we make it, a fun thing. We don't mean it in any type of way, really. But man, I get tired of seeing the same faces on it.
It's been 2 pretty much. I mean, 3. Tobey really kind of controlled it in the beginning, and then
we could go 4 deep on this, man.
Man, I mean, I can toss up another one there if you want me to.
Mr. Gainey.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this guy right here. You are also on the Volling Out milk carton, Jordan Gainey. Yeah, that's a rough one right there, man. Lots of fun guys you can put on that one. Hell, we could go ahead and toss Santi up there too if we want to. We're not actually going to do that, guys. Let's run to break. Come back. We're going to take a trip around the SEC. Talk about what's happened in the NCAA tournament for these SEC teams. Going to talk a couple of other things right there as well, and then we're also going to talk about Kentucky. So make sure you guys stay tuned because I think me and Jordan are the 2 happiest people in the world after what happened yesterday. So stay tuned, guys.
This next segment is brought to you by Three Kings of Cardboard, the go-to spot to upgrade your sports memorabilia collection. Check out their Facebook group and eBay page at Three Kings of Cardboard. I have dealt with them personally and will not deal with anybody else. My favorite item from them is my Jalen Wright 1-of-1 Bowman U Superfractor that they have pulled me. Check out our friends at Three Kings of Cardboard today.
Hey, guys. Are you all anything like me? You have a hard time getting out of bed in the mornings until you get that first drop of caffeine in you? If so, I want to invite you to give our friends at W a try. W has created a Jitterless energy blend. It comes in a powder. You drop it in a shaker, water in it, shake it up, you're good to go. There's no calories, no fillers, no artificial colors, and no sugar in it. So you don't get that sugar crash you would normally get from an energy drink that you would go get at the gas station. My favorite flavor is Beach and Peach, which is a white mango peach. And let me tell you guys, this stuff tastes amazing. If you guys want to give them a try, go to w.gg on your web browser and type in promo code VOLLINOUT for 10% off. VAWLINOUT for 10% off. Man, Jordan, it's been a really rough week for the SEC in this NCAA tournament, hasn't it?
Buddy, I mean, there's what, 2 teams left, 3 teams left standing out of what, 8?
2 currently, possibly 3. Well, I mean, that Alabama game's not over with, but we'll go ahead and say that it's 3. So, yeah, you've got 3 that are currently still standing in this, man, and good Lord, man, the conference that was supposed to be the best all year long has just taken an L left and right, and some teams, man, were really surprising for me in this. Is it time to take a trip around the SEC brought to you by our friends at Three Kings of Cardboard?
Let's jump on it, son.
Man, let's do it. First NCAA tournament game that actually even started yesterday. So on Thursday at the time of this recording, Michigan State beats Mississippi State in the battle of who is the real MSU. 69-51.
Izzo, man. He just gets them ready for the tournament like nobody else, man.
Goes January, February, Izzo.
Yes. I tell you what, that UNC Michigan State game might be a doozy. Better buckle up for that one.
I'm excited for that one on Saturday, man. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Moving on to the next one, man, and this one was very, very, very surprising for me. I know it wasn't for you. Oregon over South Carolina, 87-73. I thought South Carolina would be much better, but sitting there watching that game they got punched in the mouth, and they were like, oh, hang on, what the hell do we do? Because we don't know what to do right here. And Lamont Paris didn't know what to do as well.
Yeah, that one actually surprised me. I picked Oregon. I thought for sure, though, that game was going to be closer than that. I really did. And Oregon, son, they just come out and they say, quack, quack.
Quack, quack. I want to add something else in on that, but we're a PG-13 show right here. I can't say anything, but
that's right.
Quack, quack, beep. Anyways, so moving on. Man, going to games on Friday right now because there's one I want to circle back to on Thursday, but we're going to save that for the very end. What the hell happened to Auburn?
Dude, that was, or should I say, as the kids say, bruh, that was wild, man. Like, they had that game pretty well in hand, and Yale shot their way back into the game. And man, I'll tell you what, though, you could tell there at the end, the officiating kind of, I don't want to say, was one-sided, but you could tell they didn't want to see another higher seed go down.
Well, man, this is the one thing I'm going to say when it comes to this right there. That flagrant 2 that they gave to Chad Baker-Mazara early in the game, it was garbage, 1, but 2, it changed the rest of the game.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, man. When he went out, you could tell. I mean, it was just like, well, momentum switched, and it was wearing Yale blue. However, I do want to say, though, I did say the other night, that game would not surprise me if Yale at least made it a game. I didn't think they'd win. Those Ivy League schools, man, they play solid basketball.
They are
very
ballers over there in the Ivy
man.
League, man. Just really, really good, solid teams, and man, it's been a rough time for the SEC. Moving on to another one that was very, very surprising for me, and you were making calls earlier in the year. Sweet 16, Elite 8, the Florida Gators. 102 to 100. They fall to the Colorado Buffaloes. Sorry, can't talk, and that's what I do right here.
Man, I watched that game, and at one time, Florida was down by like 10 or 12, I want to say. I know it was at least a 10-point game. Then they clawed their way back into it. The Walter Clayton got in foul trouble late, and that was kind of he kind of helped them claw back into it. But once he got in foul trouble and couldn't be as aggressive as he wanted to be, that's when Colorado kind of done their thing. But did you seen the end of it, right?
Man, so actually I did not. I had a prior commitment during that game where I was unable to watch.
Well, okay, so the kid that hit that, if you watch it, I'm honestly not sure how they didn't call an offensive foul on the kid, because it looked like to me he just said, "Get off me," and hit him with a good old stiff arm and just dropped the shot, and it went in. Hit every bit of that rim that it could have touched.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. It seems like they're wanting to let him play a lot in this tournament so far.
Which is great.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But there's certain things that they're calling that you're like, man, that shouldn't have been called. And then there's certain stuff that they let go, and you're just like, my God, he stabbed him.
Example, the Chad Baker-Mazara flagrant 2, where he tweeted out, LMAO, y'all soft. Right after he went to the locker room, and he was right to do that. I need to hit up Ben and see how he's doing after that one, man, because that was a rough game right there. I literally caught the last like 20 seconds of it and couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that call was softer than baby poo.
Man, and that just sucked right there. There was nothing fun about watching that one right there on that one. Moving on, man, the Fighting Buzz Williams. Has Texas A&M figured it out?
They may have, man. I mean, they made a good run in the SEC tournament. They won their first game, and they look good tonight doing it.
98 to 83, man. Here's what's craziest to me about this game, though. This is no SEC thing right here. This is about Nebraska. Yeah. Nebraska has never won a game in the NCAA tournament.
Wow, really?
I know, dude. I could not believe that when I heard that on the radio today.
That's really surprising. I mean, how many schools have never won a game in the tournament? That's what I want to know.
We need to do some digging on that and figure that out for the next show.
I agree.
That's your homework right there. Write it in your handy dandy notebook. That is your homework for this next show right here on that. Man, so there is one game that is currently going on before we go to just my favorite game of the entire tournament so far. Alabama is handling Charleston 95 to 64 with 7:28 left in the second half. Safe to say the SEC is going to get 3 teams advancing onto the round of 32.
7.5 minutes left in the second half, and Alabama scored 95.
That's what I'm saying.
What? Holy Santa Claus shit.
Man.
Like,
how did they do that?
They're going to hit 150. No, they won't get that.
I wonder if Nate Oates, let's see if he's put in how deep he's gone. Let's look in this and just see. Man, he's only went 5 deep on his bench so far. That's about to change. That's about to change.
Put the water boy in, Nate.
Yeah, I think Nate's about to do that, man. Well, man, do we want to talk about Kentucky?
Who?
Kentucky.
Who?
The Kentucky Wildcats, man.
The Wildcats.
I loved that game. Honestly, the best basketball game we've had all weekend. Take the Kentucky hate out of it. Best game of the round of 64, and it's not even close.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal basketball game, dude. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm just glad somebody else got smoked by a below average size white guy that got up 20, and hit 10 of them.
Man, so the Oakland Golden Grizzlies tear up the Kentucky Wildcats 80-76. Man, Kentucky's got a lot of stuff that they really need to figure out over there north of the border right now.
You know, yeah, they do, but you know what? It tickles me to death. Tickles me to death to watch that. Dude, how long has it been since they won a first round game?
Oh man, so it has been a long, long time coming on that. And let me get my note pulled up on this right here. So just going off this right here. Kentucky was 19-0 against teams seeded 14 or lower prior to 2022. Since then, they haven't won a game against one of those teams.
Wow. So they've been bounced the last 2 years by a 14 or
a 15
higher.
seed.
Good
That's kind of
Lord,
crazy. So diving into this, man, 2018, 2019, they made the regional final, bounced by a 5 seed. 2019, 2020, there was no tournament due to COVID. 2020, 2021, Kentucky didn't even qualify for the NCAA tournament.
Well.
21-22, first round exit to the St. Peter's Peacocks, who were a 15 seed. 22-23, second round. Don't know who they lost to. They lost to a 3 seed. First round, yesterday, to a 14 seed, man. The Golden Grizzlies. Just had to do it one last time right there. Just love that sound. Man, what do they do with Calipari?
I was just getting ready to bounce that off of you, man. What do you think?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
I mean, that's my honest opinion right there. I hate the guy.
Man,
I can't stand him.
I don't like him either. And my thing about it is like, I guess it's where he's been for us to have that kind of disdain for him. You know, Memphis, Kentucky, whatever. If I was him and Kentucky said, you know what, we signed you to a lifetime contract, but we're going to fire you. Shoot, you give me that check and you tell me which door you want me out of and what time you want me out of it. I'm there.
You know how much his buyout is right now?
It's like 30+ million. Isn't it?
31.5 mil.
You tell me when.
Yeah, all you need to do is call up the Beam family or the family that owns Buffalo Trace or one of those distilleries up there and say, hey, we got to get rid of Slick Suit. What can you guys do for us?
Right. And then, okay, so then who do they go after that? That's the next question.
Man, so there's 2 phone calls I'm making, and I'm saying this for Tennessee as well. If Tennessee ends up having to go through a coaching change in this offseason, if Rick Barnes decides to hang it up, there's only 2 guys I call in the entire country, and if they both tell me no, then I've got a longer list. First phone call is Nate Oates at Alabama. Second phone call, Bruce Pearl at Auburn.
Well, I would say the second call, if your Tennessee, won't happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just because of who it is and what went down. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people would be happy with it. I would be. I know you would be.
Oh, hell yeah, I would be.
But, you know, been there, done that, got a T-shirt. Don't go. It's kind of like divorce. You don't do it again.
Ain't that the truth? Heated up food never tastes the same twice. Always remember that.
Right. I will say, though, heated up pizza or cold pizza even is better.
That's the worst take you've ever had. Literally the worst
cold
take.
Pizza?
There's-
Pizza?
That's the worst take. Anyways, let's get back on track. Man, if I'm Kentucky, Nate Oates or Bruce Pearl, that's the 2 phone calls I make.
Nate Oates, Bruce, or Rick Pitino's kid.
Start, bench, cut.
Let's do it.
I mean, it's the order you gave it to me right there. I don't even think you go for Pitino's kid. I don't think that he could do anything. And that Pitino name is kind of damaged, man. I mean, after everything that happened at Louisville, just with the whole prostitute scandal and everything like that, no wonder he was getting all those kids, man. Horny 17-year-olds, man. They were dying to go to Louisville. Anyways, so order you gave it to me. You start Nate Oates. I think that guy is the best coach in the Southeastern Conference, bar none. I've said it a million times. Love his style of basketball. I love how his teams play. The only problem with Nate Oates is when the shots aren't falling, good Lord, they're not falling.
Okay, so I'm going to follow that up with this. I would not start Oates, and I'll tell you why. Just because of the way he handled the whole Brandon Miller situation, how he handled that in the press, this, that, and the other, that's a little off-putting to me.
So I agree with that, but let me play devil's advocate here. Kentucky doesn't give a shit about that. Tennessee doesn't give a shit about that. If you're hiring Nate Oates, you're hiring him for the basketball coach that he is and to produce wins on the floor.
You're right there, but okay, so let's do it this way. Start, bench, cut, and the likelihood of who they can get, not who they want to get, who they can get out of those 3. I get it. It's Kentucky. Think about this, though. If you're Nate Oates right now, even at Alabama, you can get put out Sunday night.
He's not leaving Alabama. I don't see him leaving. If I'm start, bench, cutting those 3 on the likelihood of who they can get, hot take right here, Bruce Pearl's the start. Bench Pitino's kid, cut Nate Oates. I don't think Nate Oates is leaving Alabama because he just signed a contract extension 1. Now, if a big-time job comes calling, he's going to listen. But is he actually going to leave? I don't think so. I think that Bruce is extremely unhappy at Auburn, and after what happened today, he'd be crazy to not take a phone call and at least consider it.
Well, here's the thing, man. We've seen it with our football program time and time again. Somebody's gonna somebody's gonna have their name tossed out there for this Kentucky job. They're gonna be like, "Oh, it's catching traction, just to play them for a raise, to stay where they're at."
I agree,
and that's just smart business.
I don't disagree with you right there, man. I think that is very accurate, and that's what a lot of people are doing. I think Bruce is unhappy at Auburn, man. I really do. There's been a lot of grumblings that he doesn't want to be there anymore. I mean, the Ohio State job, the Louisville job, his name's been connected to all that.
There's some high-profile jobs out there that he could get if he wanted. That would take him in a heartbeat if he left Auburn.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Kentucky would be the one that could take him away. I think that, honestly, if he was ever going to leave, he would really want to end back up at Tennessee. I mean, you see it on his face when he's at the Food City Center. He wishes he would have never been fired. He wishes he was still in Knoxville. But
let's be honest,
he's not coming back.
But that whole ordeal got blown out of proportion.
Especially in the NIL world now. He did literally nothing wrong.
Just a cookout.
Yeah, just it was stupid, man. I mean, the NCAA, they stink too, just like Calipari does, man. NCAA, this one right here is for you.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I mean, that's how I feel about them, man. I just cannot stand them right there, man. But who are you taking out of those 3? Who do you think's the most likely for Kentucky to get, and who do you want to see get that job north of the border in Lexington?
Man, okay, so I'm if we're going on likelihood, cut Oates, bench Pitino, start Bruce. Who do I want to see up there? Pitino.
Oh, I think, yeah. Who would you want to see? Likelihood, though, I think it's Bruce Pearl is the most likely.
I do too. And think about how interesting of a storyline that would be.
It makes that rivalry go. So, and I told my dad this today too, whenever that first started coming around, I was like, this whole love fest with Bruce, if he goes there, we're all still going to love him as the person, but we are out for blood when we play him now versus where now it's like, when he's at Auburn, it's like, oh, this is a fun little cute rivalry. Whenever it goes to Kentucky, it's a completely different world right there.
I'll tell you right now, dude. I don't even think there's any love there for that one if he goes. I don't, because think about how many people course, I'm one of them. I'll say this. Think about how many people were like, oh, yeah, Lane, hope he does good at FAU. Then in a second, he goes to Alabama.
Yeah, but Bruce is
Done.
different than Lane. Way, way, way different. Also, we can blame Lane Kiffin for Bruce Pearl getting fired because the NCAA would have never been snooping around if it wouldn't have been for him first. But that's neither here nor there.
Fair enough.
The whole Lane thing, that's a completely different story. He ruined your football program for 15 years. What he did, he's the reason why you had to go hire Derek Dooley, who then in return you had to go hire Butch Jones. To then in return you had to go hire Coach Thumb, Coach Cornbread, Jeremy freaking Pruitt, the dumbass he is himself.
Conehead.
Yeah, you had because of Lane Kiffin, you had to go through all that. Bruce Pearl getting himself in trouble, man. It made you go down a windy road for 4 years where you're like, I don't know about this. But then look where you're at now.
We kind of had to go down the rabbit hole a bit with that one.
But you still made the tournament one time in the 4 years that he wasn't there. Made the Sweet 16 that year. Donnie Tyndall was not a bad coach either. I will be the first person to say I think Donnie Tyndall is the best X's and O's coach Tennessee's had in my lifetime.
I would agree with that. You know, man, you know what? This is something I wanted to kind of ask you earlier too. Get your take on this.
Mm-hmm.
Those play-in games. Okay, take out the play-in games for one of the 16 seeds because you're just a sacrificial lamb in that game. You know that just as well as most everybody else does. If you're one of these teams playing in the 7-10 play-in game or the 11 seed play-in game, you win. You win the next game like Colorado did today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you carry that moment? Do you feel like that gives you a little bit more momentum?
Hell yeah, it does.
Right. That's what I think too, especially if you don't perform as well and you're like, Oregon beat Colorado in the Pac-12 championship.
Well, I mean, so think about it this way, man. Tennessee, that year we went to the Sweet 16 under Conzo Martin, was in the play-in game.
Yeah.
Josh Richardson caught fire, and then he went on a run. You win 3 games right there. Great season. I'll always remember that year as a very fun team that exceeded the expectations. I love the play-in. Keep it going. Yeah. Keep it going this way. But don't make the teams that are automatic qualifiers that are 16 seeds that you know they're going to get their ass kicked the first game. Don't make them play in it. Have them be your 16 seeds and set it up for these teams like a Texas A&M, a Virginia who had no business even being in the tournament whatsoever, not even in the play-in. Give it to those teams like that who have the opportunity and they just didn't perform throughout the year how they should have. Don't give it to, Grambling State. Don't give it to Norfolk State. Don't give it to teams like that. Texas A&M. Tennessee, if Tennessee doesn't perform, should be the one playing in it.
Sure.
Not one of these small schools, man. I don't agree with that. A Stetson, a Wagner, a Grambling State. Give them the bid that they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're good enough to win their conference tournament, they don't need to be playing in a play-in game.
No.
And here's what I think too. Those 8-9 matchups. You just, and I'm only doing this because you mentioned Texas A&M specifically. They're in an 8-9 matchup, right?
Yeah.
Make your play-in games for I'm with you. Get rid of the 16 seed play-in game. Make it for a 5-12 matchup. 6-11 match.
Give me all the 11 seeds they have to play in for those spots.
Do that. They would be more competitive, I think, and there would be more interest in them, I think. Because I'm sorry, I don't want to watch Wagner and Stetson duke it out for 16 seed just to see who gets to go get their ass whooped by Purdue.
Yeah, I'm not having any interest in watching that. I'm still going to watch it just because I'm a degenerate and I love to watch it, but there's no way I'm going to do that, man. So last thing before we run to break, man, how busted is your bracket?
Buddy, I don't even know. I know that my Final Four is still intact.
Mine's not.
Most of my Elite Eight is still intact. I think I've lost one.
I've lost 2 out of my Elite Eight and 1 out of my Final Four so far. Thanks, Texas Tech. Thank McNeese State.
Right.
Fighting Will Wade's and the Fighting Aaron's. That's what I'm going to start calling him since my buddy Aaron went to Tech.
Real quick, though, did you see the end of that Kansas-Sanford game last night?
Bullshit.
Yes.
Bullshit. I will be the first person to say, you just get me riled up now. This is going to make me madder than Meshack being the best three-point shooter on the team. The refs only called that to give Kansas a shot.
Yes.
Out of all people, Kansas? Come on, man. Sanford deserved that, and they were screwed, and that is bullshit.
I like it. I like it. Get them, Grant.
That makes me angry right there. Anyway, since you got me so worked up, man, we got two great guys coming on from the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast to help us break down the massive game on Saturday night, Vols versus Longhorns, 8 o'clock, CBS. Let's run to break. Then let's jump in with the boys and let's talk about it, man.
Yes, sir. If you're looking for the perfect Smoky Mountain vacation, Mountain Romance is your cozy romantic getaway. Starting at $129 per night, you get 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and this beautiful cabin will sleep up to 6 people. With an amazing mountain view, pool table, and fire pit, this place has it all and is located within minutes of downtown Gatlinburg. To inquire, go to Airbnb and search for Mountain Romance or email bearslayer2021@gmail.com.
And welcome back into the Volin' Out podcast. Guys, we are joined with some very special guests here today. We have got Harish and Tim from the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us on the show.
Doing well.
Glad to have you guys.
Yeah, we're ready for it, guys. So, massive matchup tomorrow against the Texas Longhorns for the Tennessee Volunteers. What can Vol fans kind of expect from this team? What's gotten Texas this far this year?
I'll take that one, Tim.
No, I'll let you go for it, man. I'll let you rock out here.
You know, honestly, I don't know what's gotten us so far this year. I mean, if you look at how this Texas team has played, it's been really up and down all season, right? I mean, sometimes they've played really well at stretches. We've seen them kind of fall against really bad teams. I mean, we look at the game against West Virginia, who's the worst team in the Big 12, but then you almost come like a hoop away from beating the Houston Cougars, who's the best team in the Big 12. You could say that about a lot of teams in the Big 12 because the Big 12 is such a competitive conference. But for this team in particular, it really runs through 2 guys, Dylan Dessou and Max Abesmith. And Max Abesmith, as we all know, is the Old Dominion star who transferred to Texas this year, who led Old Dominion on their Cinderella run. I believe that was last year or 2 years ago. And then Dylan Dessou is the star player that hurt his knee in the NCAA tournament last year in the second round before, Texas really had a good shot at getting to the Final Four. This team plays very well defensively, actually, but offensively can be a little bit handicapped at times.
Man.
Sounds like you just have a guy from the Rick Barnes coaching tree coaching over there. I mean, almost mirror images of the teams is what it seems like.
Almost like he's been here for over 10 years.
Right.
I'll tell you what, man, you guys put the clamps on Colorado State last night.
Yeah, that was really shocking, actually. But it's one of those games where they came out. Kendall Weaver, who's a guy that I love. I think he's going to be an absolute star. He's going to be a stud here. He's just a freshman. He's the nitty gritty guy that kind of is the glue to this team. He's the guy that's going to go get down on the floor, get the loose balls. He's going to be running all over the floor. He hasn't really developed a shot offensively yet, but he's just a freshman. But defensively, the dude is a beast.
Yeah, he played well last night, man. I mean, he owned it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, this Texas team is really similar to Tennessee in a lot of different ways. One thing that I've noticed is you guys really pride yourself on the defense right there, just like Tennessee does. Kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Rodney Terry's coached under Rick Barnes for a long, long time whenever they were both at Texas. Who's the best offensive player for this Texas team?
I know a lot of people would think Dylan Dessou, but personally, I think it's Max Abus. I don't know how to say his name. I don't like butchering people's names, but to me, I feel like as he goes, the team goes. He seems to be unlike Weaver. He seems to be a little bit more in control when he has the basketball. Weaver can be a little loose with the ball, and that's one of the things that's been kind of frustrating throughout the year. Is that in times they look really good, right? That first half against Houston a couple weeks ago did not look really good, but that second half was perfect, right? We agree that they look good in spurts all throughout the year, just like my man Harish was saying that you can't lose to the best team in the conference and then come up a bucket short to the best team. But I think I think Abis or I can't really Max.
I was gonna say Max. That's an easy name right there, isn't it?
Yeah, Max is way easier. I feel like Max is, you know, a little bit more in control, and you know, as far as you know, just keeping things going. You know, we know he's a guard. He's not really that big, but it just seems like the team flows a little bit better when he's on the floor and when he's got control.
That makes sense. I was looking at his numbers, man. He's a pretty efficient 3-point shooter. I mean, 36%, and he's 42% from the field. So I mean, he can do it.
He's hit some big shots throughout the year. He's really gotten and kept us in a lot of games throughout the year as well.
Now, Max A. Smith, he was the guy who was at Oral Roberts on that run that they had that went to like the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8, wasn't it?
Yep.
Gosh.
I couldn't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. That's the Max. That's A. Smith.
Is this his first year at Texas?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so he spent his time at Oral Roberts until then. Wow.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting about Matt A. Smith is I think it was he was really brought in to be a 2 guard because he is just a shooter. So he was probably brought in to be that shooting guard, but you know, as the G League goes, so did our recruiting class. So we lost 2 5-star guys from the state of Texas, Ron Holland, and the other guy just kind of escapes my mind. Thankfully, I don't know if you guys know this, but the G League is actually going away starting next year.
The whole G League or just the G League Ignite?
I think the G League Ignite is going away.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. I think that's a good thing. I mean, the kids can make as much money playing in college, if not more now, than they could going to the G League. And I was never really a fan of that system to begin with.
It kind of ruined college basketball, if you will. You see a lot of these teams that are making runs today, Yale today, Oral Roberts a couple years ago. FG, these are veteran teams that have guys that stick on these teams for 3 or 4 years, but you have these other teams that have much more talent, but they're all a bunch of one and dones or maybe a couple year guys. So I think it'll really also help with the health of college basketball because the health of college basketball is actually suffering.
It's the worst it's ever been right now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So
yeah,
very excited.
So we've talked about a couple of different players, but one question I do have here. We all know Dalton Connect is the SEC Player of the Year. In my opinion, should be the National Player of the Year. Best player that Rick Barnes has had since Kevin Durant. Easy enough to say that. I think we all can agree with that. Who's going to be the one guarding him?
Yeah.
I'd probably take my stab at Kendall Weaver, but I don't know that there's one guy that can just guard him by themselves, right? They're going to have to be able to switch. They're going to have to be able to throw multiple defenders on him. He's a very athletic guy. So I think Dylan Mitchell is somebody that's very underrated, probably our most athletic guy. And I think that's somebody that Tennessee could struggle with on the defensive end from their side. But he's also a really long, lanky guy and somebody that can get his arms up and hopefully force some difficult shots there.
I think that's something that Dalton struggles with against too.
Yep.
It is. He has a hard time against the lanky defenders that can really get up in his grill right there. So for our sake, I am hoping that is not what's going to happen right there. So next thing I got for you guys right here as well. Let's talk about Rick Barnes. I think everybody is going to want to know this right here. I mean, Rick Barnes has been in Knoxville for 9 years now, 200 games as of last night with the Volunteers. So by far his second best stop in his tenure. What's your all's opinion of Rick Barnes now that he's been gone for as long as he has?
I'll be completely frank. Like at times I do miss Rick Barnes, but like me and my partner here, Harish, we were talking in regards to just how unstable things have come in the past, how the ebbs and flows of basketball, we really didn't establish ourselves as a powerhouse. There's been points in time where we looked really, really good. We talk about the year where Texas goes into North Carolina, beats the brakes out from North Carolina, but they couldn't get past the Sweet 16. That was the year that we had Dexter Pittman and a host of other good guys that ended up going to the NBA. But ultimately, in an opportunity where we did look like the best team, we did end up beating one of the better teams in the country. We fall short in the tournament. And we had the one remarkable year, that year where we had TJ Ford, Royal Ivy, and a number of other guys, but we ran into a buzzsaw within Carmelo Anthony and the Syracuse Orange. At one point, like I said earlier, the ebbs and flows, we all know every sports has it, right? But at one point, or at what point does that kind of, you got to put the pedal to the metal and say, look, we need to make these changes. We need to make changes for the better, for the culture of the basketball team. And that just didn't seem to happen throughout the year. Again, there were a ton of bright spots. He's got tons of NBA talent in the league, but there's no wins, no significant wins to me throughout my life that I can think of other than that year that they went to the Final Four.
Yeah. What about you, Harish? How do you feel about Rick Barnes?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, right? I miss Rick Barnes, the recruiter, because he was a hell of a recruiter.
Oh man,
and you guys can see that with what the talent he's bringing into Knoxville. I miss Rick Barnes, the recruiter, because he's a great recruiter. But kind of the same thing as Tim, right? I mean, we obviously talked about the Dexter Pittman team, the TJ Ford team, the Kevin Durant team that only managed to get to the Elite Eight. That team was stacked.
I remember when you guys came into Knoxville that year too, and Chris Lofton over Durant on that one right there. I mean, that was a fun one.
Money. Yeah.
Never forget that call right there. I will never forget that one.
I like the soundboard on that one. That was a good one. But it's kind of like the basketball program, and you guys could probably say this at Tennessee under Bruce Pearl, right? The basketball program's kind of been in an evolving door of the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Bruce Pearl comes in, they make it to the Elite Eight a couple times. Now you have Rick Barnes there, kind of in the same situation. We go from Rick Barnes to Shaka and that disaster, don't win a single tournament game for 6 years.
Right.
And then we think our savior's here, Chris Beard, and he leads a charge last year that, listen, if Chris Beard is coaching this team, this is probably a Final Four team. But you could also say that if Dylan Dessou doesn't get hurt, it is still a Final Four team. Right. When you look at the team this year, as upset as we are with Rodney Terry, for hating horns down or whatever the hell he was crying about after giving up a 16-point lead at home. The guy just wins things in the tournament, man. I don't know what else to say. Like the guy, we talked about this before the show started. He's 4-1 as the head coach of Texas in the NCAA tournament. At the end of the day, isn't that all that really matters, is to get into the dance and win games?
That's all we want.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think from a recruiting perspective, I miss Rick Barnes because there's so much talent just in Austin. We don't even need to go to Dallas or Houston for talent. There's so much talent that's untapped in like less than 20 minutes away in every direction that we don't touch. Dylan Dessou being from 20 minutes campus and coming to Texas was a coincidence. Because as you guys know, he was at Vanderbilt and he gets hurt and he comes home.
Mm-hmm.
How about right? How about that?
Yeah.
How about how many he's looked over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Who was it? I'm sorry.
Who was it? Tim?
Shed. The point guard for Houston.
Oh yeah, the point guard for
Houston. Oh gosh,
that guy's from Austin.
Is he really? Yeah. And he went to Houston.
10 minutes down the street, dude. He went to high school 10 minutes down the street from me, man.
Wow. Where did he end up going? He went to Crockett. LBJ. Elgin. That's right.
Oh wow!
So,
and he went to Houston.
There's just so much talent here that we have. There's no need for this basketball program. Kind of like we say with the football team. There's no need for Sark, as great as he's doing. There's no need for him to leave the state of Texas to get talent.
Right? No, well, you guys
build a football team in the state of Texas, and you'll be just fine every single year.
Well, it's just like us. I mean, there's a lot of talent in Tennessee. I mean, all the way from Mountain City to Memphis, and if we're not able to capitalize on that, what are we doing? It's the same with you guys inside of your own state, or let alone your own city. There's so much talent right there. I mean, the state of Texas is known for football and basketball, and you guys can lock both of that down pretty easily, I think, because who the hell wants to go to Texas Tech or Houston or Baylor whenever they have the opportunity to go to UT Austin?
Right.
For a while there, that looked like a grim thing to do. So it's like, oh wait, let's go to Baylor and win football games because they can't do it at Texas. That was a painful time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
That's like Vanderbilt being good and people being like, let's go to Vanderbilt instead of Tennessee.
Bro.
Yeah, well, that won't ever happen again.
That's exactly what it was like.
That won't ever happen to us again. We lost like a couple to Vanderbilt, and then coaches got fired, and look at where we are now. So that's all I'll say on that. So, guys, it is that time Let's get some score predictions. Tim, you go first. Give us your score prediction for tomorrow, Vols versus Longhorns.
Listen. As much as I want to be a homer, and as much as I'm a fan, right, I'm also very much a realist. Okay, Tennessee, I think your smallest player on your team, your shortest player on your team is 6'2". We got a 5'10" guy sitting on a bench. Listen, I don't think this is going to be a game where we hang in there. Maybe that first half we look good, but ultimately I think we fall to Tennessee. Tennessee's looked real good. I'm looking at a score of 76-84. Tennessee. I think it eventually, we try to climb back. I see us drop, getting in a hole, but Tennessee can run the floor better than anybody in the country. And so I don't think we get to hold up that much. Our offense just doesn't come through at this time.
Okay. Harish, how about you?
Yeah, I would agree. While I picked Texas in my bracket, because it doesn't matter what you pick in your bracket.
Right.
I think Tennessee's just too good. They're too athletic, like you said. Texas is handicapped offensively, and if Dylan Dessou and Max Aidsmith can't get it going, this could get really ugly very quickly.
Right.
Which has been the case every time neither of those guys can get through. Obviously, Colorado State was a abnormal thing to happen because Colorado State, they couldn't shoot for anything either, so it doesn't really matter what they were able to do. But yeah, I actually see this being kind of like a 10 to 15 point game in the favor of Tennessee. I'd probably say something like 84-69, 84-70, something like that.
Oh, wow. I'm loving what I'm hearing from my guys down here in Texas. Jordan, give us your score prediction before I toss mine in on that.
All right, boys. We've played twice the last couple of years. We've split them both. Y'all took it at home. We took it in Knoxville. 6.5 point spread, over unders 146.5. If Tennessee can muster up 80, Tennessee wins. So I'm going to say 80-73 Vols.
I'm a little bit closer with Jordan right there.
Okay.
I've watched both the games that both teams played recently. Teams are still somewhat similar, somewhat not, just kind of depends.
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw again with you guys against Colorado State yesterday, at the time of this recording, it's Friday, so on Thursday, was a rock fight in that game. If you guys are able to make it a defensive game, we can do that as well, and then that really, it's not going to be it's going to be a very close game in my opinion. I think Tennessee wins by 3. Give me Tennessee 72-69. I think Rick Barnes is going to be emotional. He said before he did not want to play Texas. He would rather play anybody else right now, and I kind of agree. I do not like this matchup for Tennessee in any way, shape, or form. But I still have the Vols squeaking it out.
If your boys come out and punch us in the mouth early, though, it'll be a game because we don't handle it well. It puts us on our heels, and it's like we don't know how to recover from it. So
that's interesting that you say that. Yeah, you could say the same thing for Texas because more likely than not, we will come out and punch you in the mouth, and then we won't score for about 6 or 7 minutes. So you guys will get back.
We'll go on a dry run, and you'll climb right back in it.
That's basically how it works for us.
Well, you guys know how Rick Barnes is, and we are a very classic Rick Barnes coach team. Can go 7-8 minutes without scoring the ball. Now, I don't think any of us as bad as Virginia was in that first 4 game where they went almost an hour of real time not scoring, but that was ugly.
That was hard to watch.
That was
Thankfully we were recording while that game was on, so we didn't have to watch it.
We were too, and I was like, we had it on the TV in the studio. We were recording together, and I was like, dude, why do we even have this on? It's not even fun to watch.
They couldn't have hit water if they fell out of a boat, boys. That was awful.
Well, there we go. Guys, like I said, we like to play some start, bench, cut. How does that sound to you guys?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, guys, welcome into Start, Bench, Cut. We are going to go ahead and run off with this. First one is for you guys right here. Give us the best city in Texas to go visit. Start, Bench, Cut, Austin, Dallas, or Houston.
Oh, wow.
Listen, I'm starting Austin. I'm benching Dallas, and I'm cutting Houston.
Ooh, okay.
cut. Hey.
Oh. I think I would start Austin for sure. I would probably. Hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this. I'd probably bench Houston and cut Dallas.
Okay.
Wait, can I change my pick?
Huh?
Can I change my pick real quick?
Go ahead, change it.
I would start Dallas. I'd bench Houston. I'd cut Austin. Here's why.
Oh.
If you cut Austin, Austin is great in certain points of the time of the year. Football season, you want to be here. Concert season between like April and June, you want to be here. Any other time, it's like
Not
So,
really much going on. Yeah.
It's not that there's not much going on. It's like I'm gonna assume you want to get into some things. 6th Street is just like every other city. Every other city has a 6th Street, you know. But if you really, really want to embrace Austin, football season is the best time to get here. That's the best time. So year round, I would say Houston, Dallas, then Austin.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
I did not expect that right there from two Texas guys. Benching Austin, cutting Austin. I didn't expect that. So next one right here, and this one is for, I mean, me and Jordan can jump in on this just because we love college basketball. Best player Rick Barnes had while he was at Tennessee, not named Kevin Durant. Start bench cut, Texas, yeah. Best player you had at Texas, not named Kevin Durant. Start bench cut, TJ Ford, PJ Tucker, and Tristan Thompson.
Oh,
I think that's easy.
that's easy, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I would start Tucker. No, I'm sorry, not Tucker.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, yo, I'm tripping. Yo, the first option was TJ Ford.
Yeah,
right?
TJ Ford.
So we'll start TJ Ford because he's a legend. Then PJ Tucker, we cut Tristan Thompson because although Tristan Thompson was great, you know, he wasn't around that long. You know, none of these guys were really around that long. But you know, TJ Ford was the most impactful Longhorn player ever, even more than Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that same order actually. So I'd start TJ, bench PJ, and then cut Tristan.
Guys, this doesn't make good radio, but carbon copy on that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's pretty universal right there for all of us.
I think you got to cut Tristan just because he dated a Kardashian.
Well, yeah, there's not only that, but he was just while he was here on campus, he was great, but he was so limited. He never really got to grow as a player.
Yeah.
If he was here 3-4 years, we might be having a different conversation, but he just never grew as a player.
Yeah, and I agree. TJ Ford, I remember like that ESPN college basketball game. I would like rush home and fire up the original Xbox and just play that all day long with him on the
He was
cover.
on the cover of it. He had massive basketball shorts. I don't know if you guys have
Oh,
ever
yeah.
gone back and,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a picture,
Go back and watch those.
there's a picture of Rick Barnes and TJ Ford on the sideline, and you can see Rick like talking to TJ, and TJ's pants look like parachutes. Like they.
Oh, yeah.
And TJ's not a big guy, you know what I mean? Like he was probably $160, and he had all these massive basketball pants. Anyway, I when I think of TJ Ford, I remember those times. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody remembers him for the shorts almost more than his game, but then he was nice on the court, too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
He just had to stand out with ridiculous shorts. I don't know why he chose to do that. So another one right here. Texas is a big barbecue state. Tennessee is as well.
Ooh.
Start bench cut, the best place to get barbecue. Texas, Memphis, or Carolina?
I'm starting Texas. That's easy.
Yeah, that's easy for me.
I've been to Nashville, Tennessee. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some barbecue out in Nashville, Tennessee. I got to try spicy a Nashville hot chicken for the first time.
Man, it's so good. I live in
so
Nashville,
good.
so
Okay, yeah. So you understand.
oh yeah.
So I would say the best place, the second best place is gonna be Tennessee. Carolina, nah. It's great. It's a great place to visit. The Carolinas are beautiful states to visit, but no.
Not about the Carolina Gold?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'd agree with that.
Water.
Yeah.
What are we doing? First off, we don't use barbecue sauce down here in Texas. Like what? We are a dry rub state. If you throw barbecue sauce on there, it's a little bit. You don't need to slab it on there. Like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, guys,
Season your meat, you don't need all that sauce stuff.
Right. Well, guys, I lived in
season.
Memphis for a while. I'm going to start Memphis. I'm going to bench Texas, and I'm going to cut Carolina. Carolina Gold, no business being on barbecue right there. Jordan, what do you got, man?
Man, I've actually been to Texas before. It's been a long time ago. I was knee high to a grasshopper. Texas barbecue's where it's at, buddy.
Oh my God, Jordan.
Yes, yes, that's where it's at. I'm a big guy, brother. I love to eat.
Yes, sir.
I love to eat. Some people
Yes,
eat to live, and some people live to eat. I live to eat. Give me Texas on the start.
Yes, sir.
Memphis on the bench. I'm cutting that nasty gold, man.
Yeah, the gold it throws me off. I can't do with the gold. I've had it. I'm not a big fan.
The only way I like it is on wings.
See, I've never had it on wings. See, I did have it. I had it on ribs, but again, it was just way too messy, way too watery. I'm not a big fan.
I get
I'm
that.
a fan of mustard. It has a little mustard, little kick to it.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. Just can't do it.
I understand that, man. It's not for me either. So one last start bench cut, and it is for the two Texas boys here on the show. Start bench cut, most hated rival for Texas inside of the state of Texas. Start bench cut, Texas Tech, Baylor, or Houston.
Oh, you changed it up on us.
Yeah, I thought you would go. I was waiting to hear about
those Aggies.
No,
those
we don't care about them.
Oh, neither do we. Perfect.
College Station. Y'all been ducking and dodging us for a long time. I can't wait to play on basketball. I can't wait. Houston's not really a matchup, right? Houston was the third option. Right?
Yeah.
So we have cut Houston. Geez, what was the other two?
Baylor or Tech.
Baylor or Tech.
Tech gets on my nerves. So we'll start Tech. Start Tech. Baylor didn't start winning until RG3 got around here, and they won sparingly throughout the years. Basketball wise, they
clean up.
Hey, that's a different thing.
Listen, basketball, Houston and Baylor both clean up. They clean up.
Yeah, they do.
They're coming to Texas. They go to those two schools.
Yeah, they do. That's correct.
Which is embarrassing.
From a basketball perspective, yeah, man. Houston is, golly, man. Houston might have to go first.
It's so funny you said Tech right there, how they get on your nerves. One of my best friends went to Tech, and he hates University of Texas more than anybody I've ever seen hate a team in my life.
I just don't understand why.
I don't either.
We're not even in the same earth as them.
Yeah,
if we were Earth 1, they're Earth 2.
Yeah, but he thinks the Tech is on the same level as Tennessee as well. And I'm like, dude, you're not anywhere close.
No, not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. Yeah. So,
now you know why we would start them as the most annoying fan base or the most hated fan base?
They're your Vanderbilt.
They're on par with everyone.
They're your Vanderbilt. That's what I've gathered.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Houston, Tech, cut.
Baylor.
Baylor.
Yeah. Even though Baylor's great, Baylor basketball wise is great, men's and women's. They produce some beasts. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing. If Baylor, just because Houston is a football program, even though they've only been in the Big 12 for a year and they gave us a run for our money, they're gonna be good in the Big 12. Trust me, they are going to win Big 12 championship because they're in Houston.
I think there has to be a non-conference for us eventually. I don't think that can't be going forward. That can't be because it's right down the road,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You make it a recruiting opportunity as well, right? So
absolutely.
You got to be able to run with it while you can right there. Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun. Where can our listeners and viewers find you guys at on the socials, and what is going on the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast right now?
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at LH Fan Battle or LH Fan Battle. You can find us on TikTok at Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. And on YouTube at Texas Longhorn Fan Battle. We go live Thursday nights, 8:30 p.m. And kind of like you guys, we cover everything on the 40 acres. Everything, obviously, heavy focus on football, but we cover basketball, baseball, softball. Lots of fun things happening on the 40 acres right now. So that's kind of where you can find us. And then you can find me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi. And you can find Tim. Where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Tim Wayne. I'm definitely not the guy talking trash on the Fan Battle Podcast Twitter account. Listen, if you want to have an engaging conversation, you want to talk trash, My man Harish here is going to give you what you want. Let's have the discussion. Who's your favorite college football player? Who you repping for? What athlete do you want on the college football cover? Stuff like that. That's me. But if it's just anything else in regards to talking trash, my man right here is golden. This guy right here, gold.
So he's
gold.
Jordan.
And he'll go any time of the day.
I'm definitely Jordan.
Yeah, so you're definitely the Jordan, and I'm the Tim. See, I'm the one. I don't want to talk trash unless it's Kentucky. Can't stand them. Glad that they lost. Back to the coal mines. We call them Kentucky for a reason. So glad on that right there. But yeah, Jordan's the one. He likes to rile up Alabama and everything else. And, guys,
I will have a good time in the ACC then.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a conference game now at this point, as far as I look at it right here, guys. Right. But, guys, this has been a ton of fun. Thank you so much to Tim and Harish right here. Guys, let's have to get together, do this again sometime soon. Football season's coming up. Do all that. But, guys, we're going to end the show as we always do. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
Welcome.